Hi everyone, Sanmunani Ninjani. Um, Many of you guys would know that I don't normally get involved with current happenings and current goings on, not in a public way. A lot of the guys that I normally debate with actually have been sending me messages throughout the day, wanting to know when I would add my 2 cents worth. And I don't know, for me, it's one of those things where sticking my neck out sometimes and saying stuff to people privately is enjoyable because I get to debate in a way that I can express myself and the current situations and whatever's going on at the time. But normally, when it comes to issues that are happening the way that they are happening right now, I normally just choose to remain silent. But for now, I think it's important that each and every person who has got a say and believes that they can make a difference in what's going on air their views, share what they're feeling, and hopefully they'll be able to change or impact our current situation for the better. There are a few things that I'd like to bring to the attention of some people, or not just some people, but everybody. Um, Neighborhood watches, especially in our suburban areas, the current goings on, everybody feels the need to be protected. Everybody feels the need to protect their families. Everybody wants to gather everybody and mobilize so that looting doesn't happen. But at the same time, we need to be asking ourselves some questions that are pertinent and for us to make sure that things aren't heading in the incorrect direction. For example, the question that I'd like to ask many of the neighborhood watchers and the private security companies is the current goings on and the protection. What are we actually protecting ourselves against, just so that we don't lose the plot and just so that we don't lose direction in what we're actually doing? Are we protecting ourselves against rioters and looters, or are we protecting ourselves against black people? Reason being, many of us found ourselves in a situation where we were going through neighborhoods and trying to get this and trying to get that for supplies or whatever that may be for the day. And the way we were treated was kind of offish, you know? And that to me is, I understand where it's coming from, but in a way, I kind of get the feeling that we are now all feared or we are now all branded as a particular set of people that have all the same agenda. But it's important for everybody to note that each and every one of us are going through the same situation, especially if we are not the looters. We are all running out of supplies. We are all in that desperate situation of needing fuel. We are all in that desperate situation of needing to go places and not being able to go simply because of safety. It's not one of those situations where we are comfortable simply because the rioters, most of them are black and we are black. We are also in the same predicament. Whereas safety is also a concern, we are also worried that they may come into our properties at night, they may loot our businesses. In fact, some of our businesses are closed due to the fact that we are afraid of looting. Something else that I wish to bring to the attention of everybody else is our current situation of looting. We understand the situation of poverty. I understand the situation of neediness. I understand the situation of being at a place where there are some class of people that have much more than others. But what are we hoping to accomplish and what are we hoping to gain from what is going on? After all the looting, after all the destruction, after all the breaking of property, what is going to be left of everything else? You guys have currently heard it over and over again that we are going to be left with no jobs, we are going to be left with more poverty, we are going to be left in more of a position of desperation. But I think rather than having people tell us so much more from the outside, I think the time has come where we need to start influencing each other. We need to start talking to each other. If we have got a voice, um, all of us are listened to by someone somewhere. We are all respected. Our opinions are taken as first preference to some people. So I think the time has come for each and every person with a voice to try and make an impact or try to influence our current situation. It's that important. If you have a voice and if you've got an opinion and you believe that you can make a change to our current situation, I believe that it's important to try and touch and influence the next person. I think now it is no longer about what the guys on top are going to be doing. I feel that we as a community, we as a people, need to start talking to each other. We need to start engaging in dialogues. We need to start influencing each other in a way that makes the next person feel that, hey, I didn't think about it in that particular way. I didn't consider it that way. But seeing that I'm hearing it from somebody who has said it in a particular way, I might just change my mind. It's actually very important that we try to influence. I don't believe that we need to be somewhere up there to make a difference. I don't believe that we need to be somewhere up there to make a change in our current situation. For now, we may not be feeling the impact of what's going on, but in a few weeks, in a few months, when situations are bad, I think one of the reasons why we are going to find ourselves in those situations is that for now, most probably, we are able to get away with this and we're able to get away with that. But our thinking needs to be forward thinking. We need to be people that think for the future. Most importantly, we need to be, if for any reason we need to be protesting, it needs to be calmly, it needs to be silently, it needs to be peacefully. That is very important. The riots and the fighting and the looting, and most importantly, the loss of life that we are seeing on a daily basis is getting to that point where we are becoming traumatized, we are becoming desensitized. Some people are becoming desensitized, and it's getting to that point where we are becoming numb in a way. So we need to be thinking of those kinds of things. Our challenge as South Africans is that we are still in a state of healing. We've never really gotten to that point where we can say, no, we are over everything, you know. There are times when we need to go through those conversations of dialogue. I'm still one of those old-fashioned people that believe that talking, chatting, debating, we are able to disagree, but in ways that allow us to express ourselves in a way that doesn't disrespect the next person. We are allowed to express ourselves in ways that does not make the next person feel threatened. We are allowed to express ourselves in ways that still make a conversation with somebody. I think our choice of words when we air our views is very important. How we say what we say to people is very important, because one incorrect word could be the difference between us being heard and the difference between us being offensive to somebody. Something else that's important is to remember that to those of you guys with weapons, how you use your weapons, when you use your weapons, some situations require those kinds of conversation where you are able to disperse people without becoming physical. And if you do need to, then, well, the situation is what it is. But I think more importantly, in situations and times like these, we need to think before we do. We need to think before we act. We need to think before we carry ourselves in a manner that is going to cause us to want to have done things differently at a later stage. Something else that's important is the sharing of information. Information, as much as sharing what we see is important, I think a lot of what we share sometimes with the impact or wanting to impact positively ends up being taken the incorrect way. I believe that it's important to verify sources of information. It's important to check where the information is coming from, and preferably share only information that is closest to you, meaning that if you witnessed it firsthand or you saw it or you verified it as true. Because what is happening now is that we are getting information that's being circulated that isn't entirely true, or the facts are coming out incorrectly, and that's causing people to act in ways that they shouldn't be acting in. And a lot of things are being taken personally and negatively. I think that as a country, we are able to unite, we are able to do things differently. I think our country belongs to people that seriously want to make a difference to each other. You know, it's no longer about this versus that, or we're going this way, or we're going that way. If the country seriously belongs to anybody who genuinely wants to make a difference. So my ideas and my thoughts on the situation just barely is consideration for each other, thinking about each other, and just for us to influence each other in a positive way. I think on a daily basis, let us just find ways to try and share information with each other, and try and influence each other and impact each other differently, so that we can kind of make a difference in each other's life. And I thank you for watching, and I hope that my 2 cents worth was worth listening to, and I hope that you as a person are going to try and go out and reach out in a manner that is going to cause our country to head forward rather than backwards. Thank you.